Hello guys, welcome back to the web development using ChatGPT, Ruby on Rails and React course. In the last lecture, we understand the difference between class and class name within the React component. Okay, now in this lecture, we will learn that how to customize the API responses to send the customized data when a front-end framework consumes a backend API. Okay, so here you can see that first let me explain that what I will customize in this or what we're gonna customize in this lecture. So here you can see that we have first name and last name attribute from the employee model. Okay, and we are returning it through the API, and you can verify it on the postman. So when you click on the send, here you can see that we are returning first name and last name. Okay, but what if we want to display the full name of employee by combining first name and last name? Okay, so simply you can say that we can concat the value of first name and last name, and we can display that concatenated string on the browser to display the full name of the employee, and that is fine. We need to do that, and we can do that in the React part itself. But what if we want to, or what if we need to send that concatenated name to display the full name of the employee from the API backend? Okay, so in that case, we need to use serializers, or we need to customize the API response to send the full name of the employee. Okay, and right now, why it is not showing? Because if you do that full name concatenation into your model by creating an instance method, that will not work, and let me show you why. For example, open the employee model. Okay, and here you can see that we can create a full name method, full name. Okay, and here let's say first name and last name dot strip. Okay, and so that method will return the full name of the employee. Okay, and now go to the postman, and if you click on the send button, you will not see the response in the sorry, you will not see the full name in the API response. Okay, we are only seeing the first name and last name. Now let's try to do the same thing in the Rails console. So open the Rails console. Okay, and here what we can do, let's say emp equal to employee dot last. Okay, and now do emp. So in the emp object, you cannot see the full name here. Why? Because full name is not the database column. Okay, or not the column in the database table for the employee model. Okay, but if you can do like emp dot full name, you can see the value here. Okay, and that's why, since the full name is not a column in the database table of the employee model, it is not returning within the API response as well. Okay, but there is a way to do that. You can use fast JSON API, you can use JBuilder templates, or you can use active model serializers that we're gonna use in this lecture. Okay, and using that serializers way, we can customize our API response to concate the data. Okay, so first go to the uh, browser. Okay, for example, let me hide this one. Let's hide, man. Okay, and now go to the browser and open a new tab, and here what you can do, active model serializer gem. Okay, so first click on the link here, and then you can see that this is the documentation link. Okay, so first open the docs. Okay, and here in the docs, what you can see that how to add this gem into your gem file. So you can see that gem active model serializer. Okay, so just copy this line and go to the project directory in the sublime folder and open the gem file, and come to the bottom now and paste this gem. Okay, and then go to the terminal and run the bundle install. Okay, okay, so when you run the bundle install, you can see that the gem has been added to my Rails project. Okay, and now what you need to do, that go to the browser again, and this time go to the James documentation and open the guides in the new tab. Okay, and in the guides you will find a way to generate the serializer for your model. So click on the getting started, and here you can see that how you can generate the serializer for your active record model. So Rails CG serializer, and then your model name here. Okay, and here you can see that in the serializer you can mention the attribute names that you want to return, like in this post example it is returning the title and body. Okay, so we need to generate the serializer in the same way. So just copy this rails g serializer, or you can type it as well. So rails g serializer and then employee. Okay, and make sure you are providing your serializer name as the singular, just like you provide your model name. Okay, so rails g serializer employee, and when you run this command it will create a new serializer directory, and in that app serializers directory it will create the serializer for employee.rb. Okay, now go to the sublime, and you can see this employee serializer here, and here you can see that it has the id attribute now. Okay, so since we added the new gem into our rails project, so what you need to do, that you need to restart your rails server to make sure it is working fine. Okay, and now go to the postman, and when you click on the send button, now you will see only id attribute within the response of your api call. Okay, and why it is returning only id? Because if you look at the employee serializer, you can see that in the attributes we are only mentioning the id here, and by default it is id always. Okay, and if you want to display multiple attributes, you need to mention them separately. And for example, if you go to the browser and open your react application now and refresh the page, you will only see the value for id column, not for the first name, last name, email, contact number, and so on. Okay, why? Because right now our api is only returning the value of id for all the employees. Okay, so we need to mention the attribute names here. So let's mention here first name, last name, email, contact number, then address, pin code, and then city, state, date of birth, and date of hiring. Okay, save it now, and go to the browser and refresh your react application page. So now you will see all the attribute are showing the value of their value in the database. Okay, and same thing you can see on the postman as well. Now if you click on the send button, and you will see that it is returning all the attributes like first name, last name, and so on, and it has removed created it and updated it from the response, because we are not returning them within the API. So if you want to return the created it and updated it, you can do that. For example, let's say created it and updated it. Okay, and go to the postman again, and now if you click the send, you will see the created it and updated it values here for every employee. Okay, now what we need to do, that you can see that in the employee model we created full name method. Okay, but we did not mention here. Okay, so we need to mention the full name method, instance method, that we defined within the employee model as the attribute within the employee serializer. Okay, for example, let's say full name, and if you add the full name as the attribute here, now it will not consider it from the database column. It will consider that uh, there is something like full name either within the database table of the employee or within as an instance method within the employee model. Okay, and then it will call that instance method to return the full name of the employee in the api response, and you can verify it on the postman. For example, let's add the full name here and go to the postman and click on the send button now. Okay, so now you can see that this api response has full name for all the employees. Okay, and for example, let's say you want to see the particular employee, let's say 3005. Okay, so you can see that in the show response as well we have full name within the api response. Okay, and that's what we want to render on the react part. Okay, so now what we need to do that in the react part, for example, let's say you can see that we are displaying first name and last name, so we need to update the employee list column. So go to the react template. Okay, and here you need to remove the first name from here and change this last name to name only. Okay, and then remove this one as well, and here you need to replace the last name with full name. And when you save this and look at the browser, you can see that now we have the name column instead of first name and last name into our React application. Now one can think that if we are displaying the name only on the browser, then why we are returning the first name and last name within the API responses? Okay, but so we are doing this because we need to update the employee from the React form. Like in upcoming lectures we will create form for editing the employee. Okay, and when we submit the data, it will consume the update employee API from the Rails part. Okay, and then update the information within the database. Okay, so that's why we need the first name and last name to update the employee, because full name is just an instance method, it is not a attribute within the database. Okay, so it will not get updated. So to update an employee, we need the first name and last name within the API response as well, because whatever we get in the API response, it does not need to be necessarily displayed on the browser. It's depend on us, like what we want to do this with those responses that we are getting from the API. Okay, so full name we will use to display the complete name of the employee. Okay, and first name and last name we will use to update the existing employee information within the database. Okay, so this is how you can customize your data. And you can see that we have one more attribute, that is returning the age of the employee. Okay, so we can, if we wish or if you wish, you can use the age instance method as the attribute as well. For example, let's add the age here, age. Okay, save it, and now go to the postman. And when you go to the postman and when you click on send, you will see the age value in the response as well. So this age is returning the age of the employee. And for example, like you can say, okay, so it is returning age for all. And for example, if you want to return the age with, let's say, 27 years or 27 years 3 months and so on, you can do that thing as well. For example, go to the employee.rb. Okay, and here what we can do, let's say age years. Okay, so if you do that, go to the postman, click on the send, and now you can see that it is returning 27 years and so on. Okay, but I'm not doing this, I'm just showing you the way that you can play with your return values within the API response. Okay, so I'm just keeping it as an integer value only, and I'm returning the integer value here only. Okay, so my idea was to show you that how you can use active model serializers to uh, concate your data or to customize your API responses to reflect them on the browser on in the React application. Okay, so just try to do try to follow this lecture at your end and add the active model serializer and try to create as many as instance method within your application and try to play with the API responses. Okay, and in the next lecture we will do some refactoring within the React component to shorten the employee list component. Because right now if you can see in the React component, that you can see that we are returning this T body for all the employees. So in the next lecture we will see that how we can refactor this table within a separate component. Okay, so try this lecture at your end and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.